to your favorite podcast, No Todo Se Cura con Vex. I am Maggie.
Soy Jessie.
I am Heidi.
And today we have a good one. We're going to talk about Lo Novio Escondio,
Ay, Dios mío.
which is going to be part of a relationship series that we're going to have, where we're going to talk about dating and boyfriends and marriage and expectations and everything that comes with that.
De todo el
And
sexo,
that's
todo.
everything.
Esto va a ser una serie de 15 partes.
De todo un poco.
But before we get into the good stuff, we have to give you our disclaimer. And this podcast, it is not intended to be used as a therapy session. We are simply sharing our experiences, journeys, and the resources that helped us. We strongly encourage our listeners to find a licensed therapist if they're being called to start or dig deeper into their own self-discovery journey.
Sí, mi gente. Seek help if needed.
Yes. And remember that this is our journey. We're not telling people what to do, how to do it. We're just giving sort of like tips of how to start your journey and share our experience. Outside of this podcast, we do a lot of different type of work. Like myself, I'm a therapist, pero en este podcast, yo no soy terapista. Yo soy Jessie. So this is not to tell you what to do or that you're doing things wrong. It's just sharing with you our experiences.
Our little journey, you know, and this way they can find you, our viewers and our listeners can find their own journey.
Yes.
Yeah. So, novio escondido. Who's had novio escondido?
Yes.
Mami, te estoy confesando de diablo.
I have never done that.
Right.
With the parents that you have, you know you're lying.
I have.
Ay,
Yes.
Dios mío. Mi primer novio escondido fue a los 14 años.
Me too.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Around 14.
14
Escondido.
años.
Yes.
Y tuve que hacerlo obligado, o si no, mi mamá me iba a matar. So, I couldn't tell her I had a boyfriend.
No, you were not able to. If you had brothers or cousins that were male, it was okay for them to have. You know what? I don't understand this, right? So Latinos are okay to have girlfriends, right? If you are a male and you're Latino, in our case Dominican, for the most part, I'm not saying all families are like this, but for the most part, it's okay for you to have a girlfriend at the age of 2.
It's encouraged.
Sí.
Pero ¿a dónde consigue la novia? Porque las mujeres no pueden. Las mujeres no pueden tener mujer.
Escondido. Ahí está. La respuesta.
It's encouraged. ¿Tú tienes novia? ¿Y cuántas novias tú tienes?
¿Cuántas? No es si tiene, porque también es cuántas
Sí,
novias.
él tiene mucha novia. But if you're a girl and you look at a guy,
Oh, you might look, like you probably look good, or you probably,
and you dress and you
dress
wanna look good,
nice and
whatever,
everything.
ya de una vez tú eres una chivirica, saca del tieto, mujercita escondida.
Sí,
Una
Sí.
muchachita que no tiene control.
no tiene control. Sí, fuera de control.
Esa no es fácil.
Esa no es fácil.
Ay,
Esa te va a dar dolor de cabeza.
Ay, sí. Yo tenía que automáticamente esconderme y tratar de forma de que de ver noviecito in the building, porque era mi novio in the building, because a mí no me dejaban salir tampoco. So imagínate, el boyfriend tiene que estar en el building y en el hallway eso era corriendo.
Sí.
Cada vez que yo oía una puerta era de que
Oh my God, yes. And it's in our building,
In our
where we
building.
grew up. Oh my
Yeah.
God, yes. You would go to the 7th floor and go and make out.
and make out. I would make out between the 3rd and the 4th floor.
And once you heard a door, it's so funny because you would not talk about it, right? Like you wouldn't say like, okay, we're gonna make out, and then if you hear a door, run. You would not say that, but you'll go, you'll make out, and if you've both heard a door, you knew what to do. You both.
And I became such an expert that I knew what door belonged to what house.
No way.
Oh, sí.
Oh my
Porque era la
God.
familia entera. I knew what
Yes.
Tía Negra's door was like. I knew what grandma's door was like. I knew your door.
Yeah. Oh
You
my
had
God.
to be on top on your P's and Q's for this. And sí, era así. Ese era mi novio en Condia. Eso era running a marathon.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know us outside of this podcast, we all grew up in the same building in Manhattan.
Yes.
So our grandmothers were there, our aunts, our uncles.
The whole building.
It was the whole building was the entire family.
And whoever was in blood family was family
Yes.
anyway. So they would
Yes.
tell.
Yes,
Si
yes.
andaba no quote
Yes.
unquote chivirica.
Sí,
Ujú.
yes.
Yo vi a Heidi haciendo.
Ujú.
Sí.
Mira,
Tengan
allá está la
cuidado.
mujer, allá está la muchacha abajo, al frente del edificio, con dos muchachos.
Ay, cállate.
Mhm.
That was
Con dos, Yeah, and they wouldn't even know, like, if these people were our friends, these guys, who were they? No question asked.
no.
Y si te veían, that's it. That the summer was ruined for you because no me va a salir más.
Ya, tú no podías hacer nada.
Mm-hmm.
Ni en el hallway.
No. Yes. Yes.
Oh my
Ay, Dios mío.
goodness.
Uno
Yeah.
no podía hacer nada. So it was like forzado. Uno no podía, because I couldn't tell my mom. I couldn't tell my mom that I liked a boy. I couldn't tell because me mandaban a lavar la naga, a pelar un plátano. Figure out what to do at home before you think about shit like that.
Yes. Mi mamá me decía, cuando ya tú sepas ese oficio, entonces tú piensas en novio. Y mi papá me decía, cuando tú termines los estudios, tú puedes pensar en novio. What does that mean? So si yo termino los estudios a los 30, tú puedes pensar.
Esos estudios dura demasiado. You know? So it's crazy because I'm pretty sure, like, even now with our children, that it's different when we talk about dating and stuff like that, and we want our children to be transparent, or at least share with us when they're seeing somebody.
Yeah.
Because that hiding shit wasn't fun.
It was not. It was not. Like, I think I shared this with you guys. So, porque como no dejaban que uno saliera tampoco, your boyfriends end up being the guys in your building or the friends of your male cousins.
Ah, sí.
Porque
Sí.
that was the only people that you would
Porque
get
uno
to
no
see.
salía.
No.
Uno así.
Wait a minute. You guys never had boyfriends in school?
No. No.
En la escuela
No.
sí, a los 14, like high school, I did,
Sí.
pero ya.
No, but in high school,
In high school, I went to an all-girls school. Y yo tenía mi novio, pero se me hacía un poquito más fácil.
yeah.
Tú ves, yo no era que yo declaraba, I have a boyfriend, but it would be easier for me to talk to him. I had my beeper. So it wasn't like I was using the house line.
Señores, de qué
Pero even, yeah, because when you're 15, ya you're in high school. And so the boyfriend my first boyfriend, who was también novio escondio, he was my cousin's friend. So it worked out great because I got to see him because yo no podía salir. As a matter of fact, just to let you know, ese novio me dejó porque no me dejaban salir.
A mí me han dejado así también. My parents were not straight.
He was like, I can't do this.
Yo no podía hacer nada, ni para el movies.
So, a lo primero, we were so into music. He was a really music guy. He was into playing the guitar, la tambora, like he was into instruments. And we went to the only time that they would let us go out, it was if we were going out, one, with our male cousins. If it was with our male cousins, it was okay. Or we were going to a family's house. So this particular cousin did not live in our building. He lived further uptown. And so he invited us to come to his house so that we can listen to some music and dance. So we were like, oh my God, yes. Y como era la casa de la tía, no iban a dar permiso, pero ellos no sabían que la tía no estaba ahí en la casa. So we went, and that's what we did. We arrived. We started listening to music. They started playing their instruments. We started dancing. We were 15.
Ujú.
There was no making out. There was nobody que metió en cuarto. It was out in the open. Pero nosotros no sabíamos que el tío de nosotros estaba en su dormitorio.
Oh my God.
Y parece como que él oyó la bulla y salió a ver lo que estaba pasando.
Él dijo, oye, qué decoro que no me
Ujú.
invitaron.
So, cuando él sale, él viene, nos saluda, bésame en la mano, se le besa la mano y no dice nada. Y se va para atrás, para el cuarto. And one of my cousins go, no jodimos. We're in trouble. We know it. And I'm like, pero why? We're not doing anything. We said hello to him. We didn't hi or anything. Estamos aquí oyendo música. Watch, Jesse, we're in trouble. Bueno, ahí seguimos, bailamos de todo. When I go back home, llego y a mí, my father, he slaps me. And I'm like, what the hell? What happened? He goes, guess who called me? Your uncle called me saying that tú estabas con todos esos varones in your aunt's house. Y él me dijo a mí que si yo no me pongo fuerte, tú vas a salir embarazada en 3 meses.
Ay, Dios mío. Esto es una cosa increíble. Oh my
And I was trying to
God.
explain to him, but I was like, Papa, we were just listening to music. We were not in nobody's room. We were dancing. No, las mujeres no hacen eso. ¿Cómo es que tú te vas a meter en una casa sin tu tía ni nada con un otro muchacho? And I'm like, it was my cousin and his friends. I don't care.
Wow.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Yes.
Yeah. A mí me pasó cosas así, similar, you know, just with the whole experience of like hiding and trying to like explain. Like even having my cousins in a room with me. If it's a guy cousin, he needs to leave the room. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like I didn't understand any of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was never explained tampoco.
Never.
Why?
No.
Yeah, it's just like, no, sal del cuarto que aquí lo que es hembra. Y tú, aquí nada más hay varones.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what? Like, I don't understand.
Yes.
It's insane. Yeah, I my first that I can remember, like secret boyfriend. It was I was living in DR, and he was my cousin from DR was his friend.
También porque tú no podías salir.
No,
How are you going to meet people?
I mean I had one fake. Oh, did you fake?
You had one fake boyfriend?
I had.
Boyfriend a soplar.
I had a secret boyfriend in school also, but this one was my cousin's friend. And yeah, it's sort of to talk. How do you talk? Because yo no podía salir. He couldn't come to my house. So what would happen was like my cousin.
That's why you don't have boyfriends at school. How are you going to
My cousin, when he would come over, like he would bring him and like he would stay in la guagua afuera, and I will be
like you run to the bus and
say like hello, whatever, and we will write letters to each other
That's
because
nice.
There was no cell phones.
Love
like
letters.
Yeah. We used to write. Oh, we used to write
They
love
should bring that
letters.
back.
We used to write love letters to each other y le poníamos perfume.
oh my God. Y le daba un besito con el pintalabio.
Yeah,
Ay,
and I used to send it with my cousin.
Yo creo que voy a
whatever.
comenzar doing love letters.
¿Tú vas a hacer love letters?
Yo quiero hacer love letters. You just brought that shit back.
Love letters, yeah, and el perfume.
Yeah,
All right, this
El
love
perfume.
letter.
El perfumito.
¿Cómo se llama ese disco?
Love
letters. Oh my
But
God.
one time he was out, whatever. Estamos allá y se fue la luz. So estamos toditos en el frente, and my cousin is there, and we're talking, whatever. No hay luz. So like when they're about to leave, we like sneak like a kiss. My mom, who's a ninja, saw us because she's always thinking the worst, right? And yo entro más bien a mi casa and she grabs me by the hair and my father sitting down and tells him, mira que she was, lo ve con un beso, para que, all the neighbors que no vean, y los vecinos. And she goes, and no te juegue, because I will take you to the doctor to make sure that you are still a virgin.
Oh
I'm like, yo, from a kiss, you went all the way to that.
Gee, no, yeah.
Sí.
He penetrated. Pero no había algo.
It's always the fucking worst. Like, how does it get there?
So by
my God, un
by that
besito.
time, they figured out that I liked this guy. And
Yeah.
there was this like one time that, maybe, if I could bring him over. And I remember my father being like, tú lo traes de que a pedir mano. Y le meto la mano en el perro para que se la lleve. We used to have dogs. Yeah, so it was not, yeah. It was so extra.
Oh,
Jesus, yeah, they are.
So you see
very
why
extra.
you see why we had to have
Yes.
novios escondidos.
Pero hasta lo primero con my husband. It wasn't escondido, but I was insane because I was a little bit older then, right? So I don't have to tell you who I'm seeing, who I'm talking, And so he called me. Well, during those times it was the beeper. He beeped me, and he said, "Come downstairs. I'm around your block, so we can talk really quick." And I did so, but remember, this is the building where all our family lives. So no sé quién fue que se dio cuenta que yo estaba abajo with my husband. At that time, we weren't even dating. We were just talking. And I guess they told my father. My father abajo, de una vez, mira, sube para arriba. Like, it was just the idea that your daughter was in front of the house or in front of the building talking to a guy, and that someone calls them to tell them your daughter is with a guy downstairs. It's like hell to them.
Yeah.
I feel like to them, more than de que taking care of us so that we don't come out pregnant or
Era
whatever.
lo que decía la gente.
Exactly.
La gente.
Lo que la
¿Qué van a
gente,
decir?
¿qué van a decir? They're talking about you and about me too.
Because
And my
it-
parenting.
It talks about what their parenting is, so porque tanto, it's like criticizing. So they don't want to be talked of, like if they're not doing a good job parenting.
Yeah.
So it's bigger than us. It's more about what people are going to think.
Yes. Yes, but it was just so crazy because, I don't recall. They were just so worried, right? They were so worried about me getting pregnant. They were so worried about me having a boyfriend. They were so worried about me hanging out with guys. Like, I remember one of my childhood best cousins is a male. We have such great memories. We have such great adventures. And we used to have so much fun together. And as soon as I got my period, I was told, that's it. You can't hang out with him anymore.
A mí me dijeron lo mismo.
You can't hang out with him anymore. And I'm like, but why? No. And before I got my period, he would come to my room, we would play, we would draw, and there wasn't an issue. All of a sudden he could not be in my room.
That was so, and no explanation.
And for him too, he was like, what's going on? And then you couldn't tell him because they like, don't tell guys that you have your period. So I couldn't tell him I have my period.
Oh my God.
But all this protection and no sex talk.
None.
None.
And
None.
when it was sex talk, it was bad.
I didn't even get it.
No, it was like, ahora mismo tú puedes tener sexo, tú estás fuera de serie, tú no puedes estar haciendo, tú te ves mal haciendo cosas, like you can't talk about sex unless it was negative with them.
Yes.
It's
Sex
crazy.
represent you being pregnant and ruining your life.
Yeah.
And being a lady of the night. So you have such a lady of the night now.
Mira, yo sé que para yo tener un novio duré muchísimo for it to be accepted. Pero yo, when it comes to the point you made about how he just had to stop abruptly
Yes.
hanging out, I remember my parents lived very close to each other when they separated. So I lived on 92nd in the building, and then my dad lived in 95th. And 95th Street is where I know my daughter's father since childhood. And we used to play this game called Four Corners. I had just gotten my period. My grandmother saw that I was playing out with him and his brother and his cousin, and two of my cousins were there. And we're just playing, we're in the hallway talking, laughing. We're having the time of our life. Eso era risa y risa y risa. Porque tampoco uno no se puede reír mucho
Ay,
tampoco.
No,
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 tú
eso
te
es
puedes reír
malísimo.
mucho tampoco. Ay, no,
Y
no,
tú
no.
pareces una loca riéndote
Sí,
tanto.
una
A mí
mujer
sí-
de calla, tanto que se ríe.
¿Y qué de tanto? Que tú eres una charlatana. So-
Charlatana.
charlatana. Esto es lo que una charlatana. So, mamá salió. ¿Qué tú haces ahí, Kiva, jugando con estos muchachitos? Tú eres una señorita. And they're all looking, everybody's looking at me. Así de que, what does that mean? What does she have, a señorita?
Señorita.
What is
Yeah,
that?
like, why can't she play anymore? Y me mandaron para adentro. And all you heard was her telling my dad, mira cómo está ella aquí. Y esta niña, no explanation, what do you mean? Y después ya comenzó a decirme, y no te quiero ver en una bicicleta. What?
¿Y por qué una
Y
vez?
que cuando uno tiene la registración no puede abrir nevera o no puede montarse en bicicleta.
No se puede lavar la cabeza.
No se puede lavar la cabeza y no puede jugar con varones.
Yes.
You cannot play with a man.
Yes.
And that's it. My game time, borrowing people's bikes, was unacceptable.
Yes. Yes. I remember, yes. When you got your period for the first time, it's like, ya tú eres una señorita, eso significa, ya tú no le hablas a los varones, tú no juegas con los varones, tú no sales con los varones, tú no haces nada con los varones. Ay, ¿y por qué, mami? Porque tú eres una señorita.
That's
What is señorita?
No, y después ellos me miraban, yo salía por el hallway y ellos nada más me miran y ellos jugando, ¡wow! En the hallway, y yo dije, ay, la señorita tiene que entrar para adentro a lavar losa. Oh my gosh. And the worst part is that like the lack of communication. There was like nothing to it. Although my mom did talk to me. In my father's house, it was a whole different thing. I wasn't allowed to do anything.
Wow.
But in my mom, she was,
A little
more
bit much open.
yeah, a lot more open. She would explain things to me, and I couldn't have Wilson in my room and talk. You
No.
know, like there was no. But if I went to somebody else's house and Wilson was in the room, that wasn't allowed.
Yeah,
It was weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I used to get in trouble because I used to love walking barefoot. But when you got your period,
Oh yeah, you couldn't walk barefoot either.
can't-
I remember.
Yeah. You
can't
see,
do
those
that.
rules happen in my father's house, but they didn't happen in my mom's house. My mom didn't care. But ellos me mandaban a poner chancleta. I was always so confused. I'm like, ugh, I can't keep up. Y de a veces yo traía esos habits to my mother. She's like, eso no se usa aquí.
yes. So it's just so crazy. Like we didn't have the sex talk. We didn't have the boy talk. Like I remember my first time when he was not even my boyfriend. I think I was like 13, but I thought he was so cute. And I told my friends, I think he's so cute. And so they were like, "Oh, Jesse thinks you're cute." And he was like, "Oh yeah, I think she's cute too." So they were like, "You guys should kiss." So I was like, "Okay, let's kiss." So they're like, "All right, we're gonna make sure we're gonna be downstairs, like in between the floors, to make sure that no one sees you guys, but you guys should go and kiss." I thought kiss was just like well, not kiss, make out was a kiss.
A
And
tap?
Yes. So when he started opening my mouth to put his tongue, I freaked out. I was like, "Oh my God, you're disgusting. What are you doing?" I had no idea that making out was like that. Yo, that was a summer that I was made fun of because I didn't know how to make out. I didn't know that.
No sex talk.
None. And I was then telling my friends and my cousin, like, "Did you guys knew that?" They're like, "Yeah, when you make out, like, you stick out your tongue and he sticks out his." And I'm like, "That is so gross. Why? I didn't know that. I thought it was just like a kiss." They're like, "No, that's a tap kiss, but making out is with the tongue." Yes.
Yeah.
I had no
I knew,
idea.
but it still grossed me out when he did it. My first kiss. It was just like, what do I do now? Like, yeah. It was also in the building because I had no other place to
Yes.
go.
Yes. But, I couldn't even go to my family, like my parents, to be like, oh, my mom. Like, I kept it to myself. And I remember that summer trying to learn how to make out.
Yeah, me too. I
Yes.
used fruits.
I I actually
Oh my god.
I had a cousin who explained to me
Hmm.
how that is.
Oh my god.
Really?
She said one of our cousins
Like,
when we were younger. Yeah.
oh, okay.
That's dope.
She said, yeah, you just, I don't know if she remembers even telling me this. You do the whole tongue thing, then you go like this with your tongue. And I like around. And I remember the first time I made out, that stood in my head. And it was very mechanical because it was like, I have to do it. Otherwise, I'm not doing it right. Yeah.
Yes. No one
God.
taught you that. No one taught you how to
Yeah.
make out.
Yeah,
No.
that's true. That's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just so sad. And then everything was escondido. Everything, when you were curious, era escondido. When you had questions about sexuality, era escondido. No se hablaba de eso. And it didn't, and if you did try, mira muchacha, ponte a estudiar. Tú quieres, ponte a estudiar. Ponte a estudiar y que hacer esa pregunta.
See, you couldn't ask any questions, and because they will feel so uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Very uncomfortable.
It's I still feel that if even though times has changed, I still feel that they will still be uncomfortable.
They would still be uncomfortable. Do you talk to your parents about sex?
I
Now?
do, now, yeah. Now I can. Now with my mom, she's totally
No.
open.
No.
I think I'm more discreet than she is.
I can, my cousin and I got a sex talk from her mom, my aunt, and
Oh my god.
we were in college, and it was the most disturbing talk in the world. She said, usted está casado, usted tiene que hacer todo lo que su marido quiera. Pero, si él le pide poner su cosa en la narga, digan que no, he virado. He virado. Pero después, todo lo que quiera tiene que hacerlo.
Oh shit.
And we're like, what is that? What is todo lo que quiera?
Everything else but that. Everything else.
Pero,
But that.
así mismo, si te pide eso, ten cuidado. He virado. He virado.
It's incredible. Yes.
Wow.
I
Well,
never
at least
had
you
a sex
tried.
talk with no one. No one gave me any guidance. No.
Nobody gave me. I learned from my friends, my
Yeah, from your
cousins,
friends. That's
my
what you learn.
cousins showing, telling me. And y yo in high school, I was still a virgin in high school, but yo estaba en todos los coros. Todos los coros que estaban hablando de sex y vaina, yo estaba así, open ears, learning, maquinando de que when this happens to me, this is what I'm going to do.
Can
Pa
you
saber.
imagine?
Because I didn't know any information.
But you were listening to people that themselves did not have
No.
any experience.
Y yo de que taking all this information.
Yes. Lo que pasa es que después, right, cuando ellos se dan cuenta que ya esta muchacha quiere novio,
Que no lo
y
pueden
ya,
controlar
si
ya.
no lo pueden controlar, que es un problema, que los vecinos están llamando, que esto y lo otro. Entonces te dicen, ok, está bien. Puede tener un enamorado, no novio.
Oh, yeah, because there's a difference.
Ya tú sabes.
Un enamorado.
Our mom loves to say, yo tenía muchísimos enamorados, pero enamorados solamente, ¿no?
Yes.
Takes pride in that.
Sorry to jump into something else, but tú te recuerdas when you and our cousin, you guys went to DR with your boyfriends at the time. Now they're your husbands, but they were boyfriends.
Ujú.
What was it that she said to you and and your cousin?
Si ustedes quieren que yo deje que ustedes duerman en la misma cama, en el mismo cuarto, tienen que dejarme presentarlo, no como novio, porque ustedes no son novios. Marido. El
Sí.
marido de
El
ustedes.
marido, no novio. El marido de ustedes.
Sí.
Ujú.
Sí.
Ujú.
No, porque si están viviendo juntos ya son maridos.
Marido.
Sí, sí, ya.
Pero yes. So, my first real boyfriend wasn't like they were like, she's getting out of control. Because I don't think I ever got out of control. But it was like, I was already like 16. And I felt like it was an appropriate age to have a real boyfriend.
Ujú.
And I had met this guy at the gym that I was working out on. Very, very like cool guy, very smart guy. He was in college. And I couldn't go to my mom because my mom was always, at least with me, was more strict than my father.
Ujú.
So my father was driving me to school, and I go, "Hey, I want to ask you something. When can I have a boyfriend?"
Ay, ay, ay.
It was not. He was very flustered. Why? Why are you asking me? ¿Por qué tú me estás preguntando eso? Y a whole bunch of stuff, and it was a weird conversation. He never told me.
No answer.
And so the point is that he tells my mom, and my mom, of course, has to confront it. Yo está preguntando por novio, que me dijo que tu papá, que cuando tu novio, que sé yo qué, and she goes, because your friends all have boyfriends. And I was like, that's not what I said. But I did ask, like, when can I have a boyfriend? So finally, they allowed this boyfriend to come, and there were rules. Mind you, I'm in high school, so I'm in DR, so they're like DR rules too. My boyfriend had to visit me 3 times a week.
Had to.
Yes, he came to
To
my house.
meet the requirements.
He came to my house. We would see each other 3 times a week, and it was he would come to my house. Y nos sentábamos en la galería, and my mom would constantly spy on us. And that was it.
Yeah.
And we dated
No.
for 3 years, and we went on 2 dates to the movie theater.
Oh my.
And to go on
God.
those 2 dates, I had to beg. That's it.
Yeah. No, y
Wow.
eso es ya que tú tienes un enamorado o si tienes novio, that's it. Tiene que ser un hombre que valga la pena que tú vas a estar con él, porque eso también de que de tener novio un día hoy, un novio y el otro día otro novio, eso no existe. So, usted tiene que buscarse un hombre que ya usted va a poder tener un futuro. And you're like, but I'm 16.
Oye.
That's your boyfriend forever.
Yes.
Sí.
Yes.
Ujú.
Eso no, de que de tú tener uno hoy y uno mañana, eso no. Eso en esta casa no se acepta.
Ujú. Ujú.
En-
Pero los varones sí.
Sí.
Los varones sí pueden tener cuanta novia ellos quieren. You could go ahead, date your life away. A woman in our culture is to be not dating, tener a marido. And this one guy you're supposed to serve
Yes.
forever.
Yes. So you remember how we said sex was a talk about how that it was always connected to something bad.
Yeah.
It was always connected to something bad is going to happen to you, right? So don't do it. Then when it was okay to have boyfriends, or when they knew that you were already in college or whatever and you're having sex, then it became more of like you need to find a good man.
Yeah.
So sex has always been about is either bad or you do it to make the men feel good.
Yeah.
Like my aunt told me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's either bad or it's something that you do to please your husband, your partner, whatever the case is. So never ever spoke about sex is good, sex makes you feel good, you should embrace none of that. Even after like you're in your 20s.
Yeah, and just learning how to explore your body and be confident with who you are, you know, and embracing your sexuality in ways that we actually probably each one of us struggled with
Yes.
growing up because we never had the space to be comfortable with that.
No.
Yeah.
It was so taboo that unfortunately, like even me thinking about my friends, our cousins, and we all grew up, we didn't even really talk about sex.
No, none of us.
Yes. Like that was just so
It's so private.
so
and it's taboo.
private.
Yeah.
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 Like you would say like, "Oh my god, yes, I had sex." But it like a conversation, well, at least for me, like a conversation about details and stuff, it wasn't really that was not the case.
I didn't start doing that till later in my life with my cousins, where I
Yeah.
was like sharing details, and
Yes.
but most of it I just winged it and tried to figure out if I was doing doing it right and satisfying my partner, because that was the ultimate goal.
That was the ultimate goal. Make him feel good.
Make him feel, yeah. It's all about him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy to see that the way we were raised to believe, that what's right and what's wrong when it comes to dating, and to see the reality. Like all the things that we could have learned, all the things that we
Yeah.
could have avoided
Yes.
had we had the proper information.
Yes.
When Alicia was small, she had a lot of questions. And I don't know at what age people talk about, like, being bisexual and gay and stuff like that. And then around that time, she was also going through puberty, growing up. She's, developing. And I didn't know how to talk to her. I didn't have the information.
Because you never had that experience.
No. So, of course, I'm here doing research, how to talk to my,
Mhm.
7-year-old daughter, and how do I, explain these things, and how do I express, what gay means and all this stuff.
Mhm.
And I started researching books that I can read to her.
Yeah.
And I found this awesome American Girl book, which I recommend from Mateo, because it talks about like the body. So it describes the body, puberty, hair, and then there's one about, LGBTQ, and there's also about boys, like liking boys, and I got her like the series. And you wouldn't believe how much I learned from that.
You were like,
espérate, me lee esto de nuevo.
Can you tell me that book? I need to read it. Mm-hmm. Yes.
It was so informative.
Yes.
Like I didn't have the words to express to her what I wanted to, and this was perfect. A children's book about sex, about developing, because that also our bodies. Nobody really talked to us about
No.
our bodies
nobody
like
talk
that.
about that.
Yes.
No one talked to us about our bodies or anything like that. And when you have kids, you're like, you don't know. 'Cause
You
you're like,
don't.
what does this conversation look like?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's hard because you never had the like for me, like I said, like to this day, I don't talk about sex with my parents to this day, right? I don't talk about it. So yeah, it's hard. And like, if you think about your sex life, like you said, it's everything you had to kind of like figure it out on your own.
Read books.
Yes, read books, figure things out, listen to some of your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you didn't even know how to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then it was this whole expectation that sex is for the men.
Yeah. And then there's so much shame in the way.
If women love sex, right? Like if a
Yeah.
woman talks about sex and how much she loves sex,
It's shameful.
it's shameful.
Especially when there's like religion behind it.
Yes.
So it's like you can't even enjoy it.
No.
You can't say that you enjoy sex.
No,
No.
you just can't enjoy sex. And I remember with my husband when we were dating and with another boyfriend that I had that my parents knew about, I was already living in New York, and my parents were in DR, but they will come, every summer or whatever. And they will have the meetings with us.
The interventions.
To be like, pretty much, eso no se ve bien de que usted y que tú, tal. yendo a la casa de ella y acostándote ahí. You know, like, because Will, I used to live with my roommates, and Will, he would come over, whatever, and or with my other boyfriend, I would go to his place, and they would be like that, like that doesn't look good. A girl doing that. Ustedes deberían de verdad pensar. With Will, they were really like blunt. They were like, ustedes deberían de verdad pensar en mudarse juntos ya. You don't even know where our relationship is. Like, honestly, Will could have been like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with your parents? This is not going to work out.
They're trying to marry me into the family.
But they were like, ustedes deberían de ya. Ya ustedes viven juntos. And what that means is have sex. Ya múdense juntos, háganlo bien, porque que eso no se ve bien,
Eso
que
no
la
se-
gente vea
Eso
eso.
no se ve bien. Todo tiene que ver con eso no se ve bien. That's the biggest thing that we heard growing up.
And another thing that...
Shame.
Yeah.
Shame.
Mommy used to say...
Shower you with shame.
I don't know if she would say it to you, but she would say it to me. She would be like, ustedes saben que ustedes han querido coger esa costumbre de los americanos. Nosotros no hacemos eso.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but that's also what happened with my husband and myself. Like, he was in his own place, so I would go, and sometimes we would go out to the movies, whatever, and then I would stay in his place and spend the night there. And it was okay, because at that time, my parents, they were not here. They were in DR. But then they came back, and they were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, at that time, I'm already a grown man. I mean, a grown I am not a man. And so I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, no, eso no se ve bien, que tú salgas de tu casa y que no regrese, que la gente se dé cuenta que tú no regresaste hasta la otra
Como que la
mañana.
gente está así. Déjame ver cuando ya se mueve para su casa.
Y si vuelve que se jodan. That's it, because it's none of your business.
Eso no se ve bien. Y también, this is my father, también la mujer se da su valor.
Sí.
That's a big one, su valor.
La mujer se da su valor. ¿Cómo es que tú se lo vas a hacer tan fácil a él? Tan fácil. Like, so easy to have sex. Because, of course, I'm not enjoying this. This is all for him. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not enjoying this. So I was like, I'm not going to stop doing this. No, like, you just came back. I'm doing my life. I'm not going to stop doing what I was doing. Well, if that's the case, you need to move. You need to then let him know que te acepte in his place. Because it's either you're going to follow our rules, o si tú vas a estar con eso, que tú vienes hoy, que viene mañana, entonces ya ustedes son marido y mujer, y tú te vas, entonces actualmente va a ser su mujer.
Ay, Dios mío.
And I was like, oh, really? Okay, fuck you. I packed my bags and everything. I was like, I told my husband, he's like, what? And then he went to his mother and he's like, yo, so the girl that I'm dating, their parents are Dominicans, and they found out we were having sex. So now they want her to move in with me. And his mother was like, así es que se hace. Así es que se hace. Así es que nosotros los dominicanos hacemos eso. Si ustedes ya están viviendo juntos, eso es lo correcto.
Wow.
So we were both like, so do you want to live together? And I'm like, I guess.
How many years later now?
30 years later.
Wow.
Yes. Thank God. But he could have been an asshole. He could, you know what I mean? Like, he could have literally, and even though right now I say it all the time, like, I love my husband. I love my boys. I love them very much. And if I was to come back to life, I would want the same husband and boys. But for my father putting all that pressure on me, there were so much opportunities that I probably lost. Yeah. Like living on my own, traveling on my own, right? Like, and also my husband, because at that moment I was telling him, I was like, your mom could have been like, no, right? Because if one of my boys comes and they're like, oh, they're telling me to move in with this girl.
I'm like, she ain't coming here.
Yeah.
I would be like, listen, we need to have a family meeting. I'm going to invite the parents to dinner. We're going to talk about this. But none of that happened.
No.
And so we could have done so many things as individuals.
Different.
Different. Thank God that we're still together, and of course, no marriage is perfect, but he could also been a big time asshole. Dándome golpe y de todo.
Sí, uno nunca sabe.
Mm-hmm.
What, with the years. It's just, it was a good call, thankfully,
Yes.
but that's not always the story.
That is not.
Yeah.
It's not.
I'm grateful they were not like, well, you have to go.
Well, I think they learned from me, and they were like, we think it would be a good idea with you.
Moving together. Oh,
Yes.
yeah. You should
Yes.
probably move. You should probably do that.
Yes.
It was crazy because my mom moved away when I was like 19 years old. And I was still trying to figure it out. And I was given the option to stay in my apartment or move to Florida with her. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'll have my apartment to myself. Peace. And it became harder than what I thought. But at the same time, she was against everything I did on my own in the apartment. So all the rules were broken that she thought I should have followed. And she was still trying to control it while she left. But you left. So it was very strange, like her expectations. After putting like such a tight grip on me, she bounces. And I'm supposed to keep up with those rules on my own.
You were like a kid in a free candy store.
Yes. Yes. And I think if there was more talk, more stuff, I would have never been that crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't do anything crazy like that, but I had my parties, my get-togethers. I always wanted people over, stuff like that. And
Yeah, and what you look forward, if they were not so, if they didn't have such a
rigid belief.
and such a grip on you, and
Yes.
didn't let you breathe.
Mhm.
Like, yo, let me breathe.
Yes.
Like I remember living in DR and being like, I cannot wait. The moment I'm done with this fucking high school, I am leaving. Leaving. And let me tell you, I had my high school boyfriend. Y yo le dije a él, I said, yeah, we can date and everything. You're very cute. But when I'm done with high school, yo me voy.
Say, hope
Yo
I
me
know
voy.
you.
And it's like, because all I wanted was that freedom.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted was that freedom, because I saw myself. I said, if I stay in this country, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to stay with my high school boyfriend. I'm going to graduate high school. I'm going to go to college. In DR, it's not like here that you can go away for college. No, you still live with your parents.
There's no dorms.
In the middle of my college life years, I'm going to get married to my high school boyfriend. Then I'm going to move in with him, pop a couple kids.
Yep.
And I was like, that shit sounds mad boring. I was like, I am not living that life.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Y eso no lo ve a cada rato. But on top of all of that, talk about dating when you're young, it's crazy that I had to go through all those measures. Y lo cocotazo que me dieron. Y la golpeada que me dieron. Just for kissing or just seeing the guy. I remember one of my cousins, she was dating somebody in my class. Porque todo estaba ahí mimito. The school was right across the street. The neighbors were in the same class as me.
Yes.
That dated my cousin. Era un lío. So my cousin was dating one of my classmates, and we became really cool. So she was like, recuérdense, a tight grip. So my cousin couldn't date this guy. So escondió también. So ella me mandaba notas. Ella me daba la nota.
So that you can give
para
it
que
to
yo se la diera a él. They're talking about where they're going to meet, 3 o'clock tomorrow by the park. I got to go buy milk. Eso era un lío. So my cousin gives me a letter. And I go upstairs. And I don't know what happened. But my mom was telling me to go upstairs mad times. And I wouldn't go upstairs. Yo estoy llamando a my cousin's house. Que suba. That's how much of a grip. So I'm like, okay. I go upstairs. She's like, ¿qué es lo que tú estabas haciendo? Yo te llamé, yo no sé cuántas veces. I'm like, two floors down. I'm like, I'm here. What's up? No, que te tiene que bañar. You need to go to school. I'm like, okay, what the fuck? My God. And I don't know what happened, but When I went, I bent down, the letter fell on the floor. Y mami recoge la carta y dice, meet me, qué sé yo. She's like, ¿y qué es esto? ¿Qué es esto lo que yo estoy viendo?
Oh my God.
And I cannot, I'm not going to go ahead and chivatear at my cousin. So I'm like, it's just a letter. Like, just relax. Like, I'm already like 14 and I'm like trying to, not 14, I was like 13 or 12. And I'm like, just chill. Like, she's already like elevated. No, porque esto es lo que yo te estoy diciendo. I cannot trust you. Se volvió loca y me dio una galleta. The letter just said, meet me. It didn't even look like it was from me. She should know my handwriting by that.
So wait, the letter just said, meet me.
Meet me at 3:00. I go about destination where we're going to meet. I think it was in the building or in the park. That's it.
Right. So it wasn't like, you couldn't confirm that it was a guy or...
No. It was nothing sexual.
Nothing sexual.
Una buena galleta. And that's the day that I was like, why do you keep on hitting me in my face? You told me, I told her, you told me not to let anybody touch my face, and you're constantly slapping me for something that's not even mine. I had to chivatear me.
You had to at this point.
And they couldn't believe, and this is like how much you couldn't speak up. Like, you couldn't say shit.
¿Y qué ella te dijo después que ella supo la verdad?
Nada.
Sí.
Nada.
Oh,
sí, ella me dijo al otro día, mira, por eso es que yo no quiero que tú estés dando mensajes. No te pongan en medio de estar dando mensajes. Yo no te quise dar. Yo no te quise dar.
Yo te quise dar.
No, y lo más grande de ella, mami siempre, perdona mami, but I'm telling you, esa golpea me dolió más a mí que a ti.
Oh my God.
Eso a mí me dolió más a mí que a ti. Si tú supieras cuando yo te di esa galleta cómo yo me sentí.
Oh my God. Yes.
You imagine if
And I
if
looked
you
at
would
her
have been like, bah, like that. That's how I felt. Is that what you felt?
Mami a veces me
¿Te
ponía.
imaginas?
Mami una vez me dio con un palo que yo le cogí el palo. Like I was already like 18, and I'm like, you are a psychopath. You need to relax. How can you hit me with a palo?
Yo, la última a mí no me dieron mucho because yo le tenía mucho miedo a los golpes. And I was my mom still, that's why she's always says, I feel like I don't know you anymore because I was a very like follow the rules kind of child because I never wanted to get hit and I hated disappointing. But I don't know what happened. She got me, I was in high school already. She got me hasta aquí and I had like a pen in my hand. I just like threw it because I just got so frustrated. And we had like this plastic beach chair, right? And the handle would come off. Y ella me dio con ese handle y me dejó. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I remember that same day, a friend from like high school came over because she used to live near. Something about like a homework. Y ella me ve. She goes, ¿y qué pasó? I was like, I fell. Yo me caí. And she goes, fue tu mamá que te...
Ay, Dios mío. Ay, Dios mío.
I was like, no, yo me caí de la escalera.
Los bofetones que nos dieron a nosotros y nosotros protegiendo a nuestras madres. Mami me daba con cualquier cosa que... Everything became a weapon.
Everything became a weapon.
Chancletas, correa, lo que sea.
It's
She
crazy.
was heavy-handed. My mom
It's
did not give a
crazy.
fuck.
No.
They really did not. And they used to embarrass you too. Yeah.
Yes.
With
They
me, it was a
would.
lot of, they would tell me, because in DR, the house parties, it was, they used to make food too. So, okay, vamos a hacer esto aquí, this little party, whatever. And I was never allowed to go anywhere. But sometimes what they would do is they would be like, yeah, you can go. And then the day of, my mom will have like a dream, or my father would be like, you know what? I don't think.
Presentimiento tengo.
Or my dad would be like, I don't think that's a good idea. You're not going. So this last party, I was even part of like planning it. And they told me que no podía ir. And I'm like, you know what? Everybody makes fun of me at school because I can't go anywhere. Okay? And my best friend, I was like, oh, yo no puedo ir. And she's like, what happened? I said, I am so sick. I think I ate something. I have like this really bad stomach pain. Like I've been in the bathroom all day long. Mentira. Y ella me está dando, bebe esto, bebe esto, bebe esto. Y yo, ok, ok, ok. Y me llamaba otra vez, ¿te lo bebiste? Sí. Ay, estoy mala todavía, estoy mala, estoy mala. Yo no creo que puedo ir. And towards the end, my mom picks up the other line and she goes, so-and-so, ella no está enferma. Yo no la voy a dejar ir. And my friend is like, why didn't you tell me? And I was like, because this always happens all the time. And then everybody's going to start talking about me in school, how they don't let me go anywhere.
Yeah.
Why did she have to do that? Why did she have to like say you weren't lying? I mean, that you were lying.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know.
That's,
It's almost like a power trip too.
yeah, it is. It is.
My
It's
mom
so
used to
sad.
catch me in so many lies too, and it used to embarrass me. Like she would catch me like trying to plan. She used to press star 669. That's the one that. So si ella llamaba, she would go downstairs. She was such a freaking paranoid person with me that she would go downstairs. Remember, we all lived in the same building. So she's like at a sister's house downstairs. Y ella parece que me está llamando y yo estoy en mi casa. Y ella llama y llama, pero el teléfono está ocupado. Yo no tenía two-way. Y ella llama, está ocupado. Yo estaba ahí, Johnson, con mi novio de escondido. Y ella sube y yo cierro el teléfono. Y estoy actuando como que yo estoy haciendo otra vaina. She comes in and she's like, yo tengo 30 minutos llamándote. ¿Con quién tú estabas? Yo dije, maybe the phone is off the hook. You know, and I go, y ella de una vez fue acá, ding, ding, ding. Hello? Don't call my daughter anymore.
Oh my God.
And hangs up the phone. I'm like, this is so fucking embarrassing. Like,
Oh my God.
Oh God.
see?
Yes. Esos son los novios escondidos.
And the struggle to like keep up with it and yeah.
Yes. Yes. So we're almost coming to an end. Any last minute thoughts or
Advice for novios escondidos?
Bueno,
Do
si usted
not
tiene
do
novio
it.
escondido ahora, ¿tú te imaginas?
Ellos hay muchachitos
Eso
que
se
todavía,
usa, todavía.
claro. Ellos todavía gente, you know, straight from DR, they're first generation kids, you know,
That
are
is
still
true.
young.
That's true.
And they still follow these, you know, rules. You know, things are still very, very culture, you know, and they want to keep that tradition. And they still
Jesus.
have those beliefs. So if you do have novios escondido, beware. Don't follow our rules. Don't do what
Don't.
we did.
Yes.
No, because we got caught.
Yes.
We
the time.
suck at it.
Don't. Just find someone that you trust to talk to.
Yeah.
Someone that you trust, that you know.
Una tía, una prima.
Yeah, not someone like your age,
Yeah.
right? Because if you're a teenager, you know, your friend probably wants the best for you, but he or she is also trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely somebody older, a fun aunt
Yeah.
or uncle, somebody that you know
Yes.
will guide you into the right direction and would want the
Absolutely.
best for you.
Yes, absolutely. Y, you know, don't do what we do.
This is solely our experiences.
Like we said, it's our experience. So, you know, we did mention that this is going to be like, we're going to have like
Series.
15 episodes, right? So, what are we going to talk about next when we...
On this relationship series.
Oh, it's gonna be the one, the casados.
Oh, sí. So, después de los novios escondidos.
Después que tú dejas tener novio y ya tú tienes el novio, ¿qué pasa?
El
¿Qué
marido
pasa?
o el esposo.
El marido o el esposo.
Ya lo saben.
Mhm.
Stay
So
tuned,
stay
my
tuned, my
friends.
friend. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.